Welcome to my channel. Today I am going to tell you about the story behind the greatest epic ever filmed in the world cinema, and that movie is Ben-Hur. The epic that changed cinema. There are certain films in the history of cinema that rise above entertainment and become cultural landmarks. They represent the ambition of an entire industry and the creativity of hundreds of artists working together toward a single vision. Among these extraordinary achievements stands the monumental motion picture Ben-Hur, released in 1959. More than a film, it became a symbol of what epic storytelling could achieve on the silver screen. The origins of this legendary production reach far back into literary history. In the 19th century, an American writer named Lew Wallace created a sweeping historical novel titled Ben-Hur, A Tale of the Christ. Published in 1880, the novel quickly became one of the most widely read books of its era. Readers were captivated by its dramatic story set in the ancient world during the time when the vast Roman Empire ruled much of the known world. The novel blended adventure, political intrigue, and spiritual reflection. It followed the life of a noble Jewish prince named Judah Ben-Hur, whose destiny becomes intertwined with the powerful forces shaping the ancient world. Wallace's work explored themes of betrayal, perseverance, justice, and ultimately redemption. The story unfolds in Judea, a region deeply influenced by Roman authority. The Roman Empire, with its powerful armies and far-reaching political control, governed territories stretching across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. In Judea, Roman officials enforced imperial law, while soldiers maintained order in the cities and along the trade routes. For the people living under Roman rule, life was often marked by tension. Many communities struggled to preserve their traditions and identity while adapting to the realities of imperial governance. This historical setting provides the dramatic background for the journey of Judah Ben-Hur. At the beginning of the story, Judah is introduced as a young nobleman from a respected family. His life is comfortable and filled with promise. He enjoys the loyalty of friends and the respect of his community. Yet destiny begins to shift when a childhood companion returns to the city after many years away. That friend is Messala, a man who has risen through the ranks of the Roman military. While the two once shared a deep bond, the passage of time has changed them. Messala now carries the authority of Rome and the ambition that accompanies power. The reunion between the two men begins warmly, but differences in loyalty and ideology soon create tension. Messala demands unwavering support for Roman rule. Judah, however, refuses to betray the values and traditions of his people. Their disagreement grows into a dangerous conflict that will alter the course of Judah's life forever. Through a series of tragic events, Judah is unjustly accused of a crime against Roman authority. Stripped of his status and separated from his family, he is condemned to a life of hardship. What once seemed like a promising future disappears in a moment of betrayal. This turning point marks the beginning of Judah's long journey. From this moment forward, his life becomes a struggle against injustice and suffering. Yet the story is not merely one of revenge. It is also a path toward transformation. When filmmakers in Hollywood decided to bring this epic story to the screen in the 1950s, they understood the magnitude of the challenge before them. The film industry had already produced historical spectacles, but none approached the scale envisioned for Ben-Hur. The project would require enormous resources. Massive sets had to be built to recreate the ancient cities of Jerusalem and the Roman world. Thousands of costumes would be designed to represent soldiers, merchants, nobles, and ordinary citizens. Horses, chariots, ships, and weapons all had to be prepared with careful attention to historical detail. To guide this ambitious production, the studio chose director William Wyler. Wyler was known for his meticulous approach to filmmaking and his ability to bring emotional depth to even the largest productions. He believed that spectacle alone could not sustain a story. The audience needed to connect with the human experience at the heart of the narrative. Wyler's approach shaped every aspect of the film. While the sets would be enormous and the action sequences thrilling, the emotional journey of Judah Ben-Hur would remain the true center of the story. Casting the central role was one of the most important decisions in the entire production. The filmmakers needed an actor capable of portraying strength, dignity, anger, and compassion. They eventually chose Charlton Heston, whose commanding presence and powerful voice made him a natural fit for the role. Heston understood that portraying Judah Ben-Hur would demand both physical endurance and emotional intensity. The character experiences dramatic changes throughout the story, evolving from a confident young nobleman into a man shaped by hardship and ultimately by spiritual awakening. To prepare for the role, Heston underwent extensive training, particularly for the demanding action sequences that would become famous around the world. Among these scenes was the legendary chariot race, a sequence that required months of preparation and practice. While the actors prepared their performances, teams of designers and builders worked tirelessly to construct the world of ancient Judea. Entire city streets were created on massive outdoor sets. Towers, markets, and temples rose from the ground as craftsmen shaped stone and wood into convincing architectural forms. Costume designers produced thousands of garments representing the diverse cultures of the ancient Mediterranean. Roman officers wore polished armor and crimson cloaks. Merchants and travelers filled the streets in robes of varying colors and fabrics. Every detail contributed to the illusion that audiences were witnessing a living ancient civilization. One of the most complex challenges of the production involved recreating scenes of naval warfare. Large ship sets were constructed to simulate ancient war vessels. Through careful choreography and creative camera work, filmmakers were able to capture the intensity of a battle at sea, complete with crashing wood, fire, and desperate struggles for survival. Yet even these impressive sequences would eventually be overshadowed by the film's most famous moment. The chariot race, staged within a gigantic arena filled with thousands of spectators, would become one of the most celebrated action scenes ever filmed. Weeks of filming were required to capture the race from multiple camera angles. Skilled stunt performers guided teams of horses around the dangerous track while cameras recorded every moment of speed and suspense. Dust filled the air as chariots collided and competitors fought for victory. The dedication of the performers and crew transformed the sequence into an unforgettable cinematic experience. As the film neared completion, composers created a sweeping orchestral score to accompany the story. The music helped guide the emotional rhythm of the film, rising during moments of triumph and softening during scenes of reflection. Finally, after years of preparation and months of filming, the epic production was ready to be revealed to the world. When the monumental production was finally completed, anticipation began to grow within the film industry. Few motion pictures had ever required such enormous effort. Thousands of people had contributed their skills and labor, from actors and craftsmen to engineers and musicians. Everyone involved understood that they had participated in something truly extraordinary. The film premiered in 1959, and audiences quickly realized they were witnessing a cinematic experience unlike anything before it. From the very first moments, viewers were transported into the ancient world. Vast landscapes stretched across the screen. Towering structures and crowded streets recreated the grandeur of cities that had existed nearly 2,000 years earlier. As the story unfolded, audiences followed the emotional journey of Judah Ben-Hur with growing intensity. Charlton Heston's portrayal brought both strength and vulnerability to the character. His performance captured the pride of a nobleman, the bitterness of betrayal, and the quiet transformation that slowly emerged through suffering. One of the remarkable qualities of the film was the way it balanced spectacle with human emotion. Scenes of enormous scale were carefully interwoven with intimate moments between characters. This balance allowed viewers to feel connected to the personal struggles at the heart of the story. Among the film's most striking sequences was the naval battle. Through creative filmmaking techniques, the production recreated the chaos of ancient maritime warfare. Large ships collided, flames rose into the air, and desperate men fought to survive amid crashing waves and splintering wood. The sequence demonstrated the technical skill and imagination of the filmmakers, who relied entirely on practical effects and carefully coordinated performances. Yet even this dramatic scene served only as preparation for the moment that would ultimately define the film. Deep within the story lies a rivalry that grows stronger as the narrative progresses. The conflict between Judah Ben-Hur and his former friend Messala becomes the driving force behind the unfolding events. Once united by childhood friendship, the two men now stand on opposite sides of power and loyalty. Messala represents the authority of the Roman Empire, a system built upon discipline, order, and absolute obedience. Judah represents a people struggling to maintain dignity and identity under foreign rule. Their conflict becomes symbolic of the larger tensions shaping the ancient world. This rivalry reaches its climax in a grand arena built for public spectacle. In the Roman world, chariot racing was one of the most popular forms of entertainment. Crowds gathered in enormous stadiums to watch daring drivers compete in contests of speed and courage. To recreate this historical spectacle, the filmmakers constructed one of the largest sets ever built for a motion picture. The arena stretched across a vast area of land, surrounded by towering structures and massive statues. Thousands of extras filled the stands, representing spectators eager to witness the competition. The preparation for filming the race required months of careful planning. Teams of horses had to be trained to run together in precise formations. Stunt drivers practiced controlling the chariots while navigating sharp turns at high speeds. Safety measures were carefully arranged, though the risks remained very real. When filming began, the energy of the production was extraordinary. Cameras were positioned around the arena to capture every moment of the race. Some were placed close to the track to follow the thunder of hooves and the spinning wheels of the chariots. Others observed the action from high vantage points, revealing the scale of the arena and the intensity of the crowd. As the race begins, the tension becomes almost unbearable. Horses surge forward, chariots accelerate across the sandy track, and the roar of thousands of spectators fills the air. Dust rises beneath the pounding hooves as the drivers maneuver for position. The race is not merely a contest of speed. It is a battle of strategy, courage, and determination. Drivers attempt to block their rivals, forcing them toward dangerous corners where a single mistake can lead to disaster. Throughout the sequence, the rivalry between Judah and Messala becomes increasingly dramatic. Their chariots race side by side, wheels nearly touching as they struggle for control of the track. Each turn of the arena brings new dangers and shifting fortunes. The filmmakers spent weeks capturing this sequence, recording footage from countless angles. Later, skilled editors assembled the images into a breathtaking cinematic experience. Rapid cuts between racing horses, determined faces, spinning wheels, and cheering crowds create a sense of relentless motion. The result is one of the most thrilling action scenes ever created for the screen. Even decades later, viewers continue to marvel at the realism and intensity of the sequence. When audiences first witnessed the chariot race in theaters, many were stunned by its power. The scene became an instant legend, often cited by critics and filmmakers as the greatest action sequence in cinema history. But the film's success did not rest solely on spectacle. As the story moves toward its conclusion, the narrative shifts once again toward its deeper themes. The journey of Judah Ben-Hur ultimately becomes a story about transformation. The anger that once consumed him begins to fade as he encounters a different vision of life, one centered on compassion and forgiveness. The story unfolds during the historical period associated with the teachings of Jesus Christ. Though this figure appears only briefly within the narrative, the message of mercy and redemption gradually influences the hero's outlook. Through suffering and reflection, Judah begins to understand that true victory does not come through revenge but through the ability to forgive. This realization brings emotional resolution to the long and difficult journey he has endured. When the film reached its conclusion, audiences around the world responded with overwhelming admiration. The combination of powerful storytelling, breathtaking spectacle, and spiritual depth left a lasting impression. Critics praised the direction of William Wyler and the performance of Charlton Heston. The film's technical achievements were widely recognized as groundbreaking. The ultimate recognition came at the Academy Awards ceremony, where the film achieved a historic triumph. It received 11 Oscars, including the awards for Best Picture and Best Actor. This remarkable accomplishment set a record that stood for many years and confirmed the film's place among the greatest productions ever created. Yet the legacy of the film would extend far beyond awards and box office success. It became a benchmark for epic filmmaking, inspiring generations of directors and storytellers who sought to create works of similar ambition and emotional power. Even today, viewers discovering the film for the first time often express amazement at its scale and craftsmanship. In an age when computer-generated imagery can create almost any visual effect, the practical techniques used in the production still feel remarkably authentic. Real horses raced across real arenas. Massive sets rose beneath the open sky. Thousands of performers filled the screen, bringing the ancient world to life. These elements give the film a sense of reality that continues to resonate with audiences decades later. The extraordinary success of Ben-Hur did not end with its first release. As the film traveled across continents and reached audiences in many countries, its reputation continued to grow. Viewers everywhere were drawn to its powerful storytelling and the sheer scale of its production. For many people, the film represented the peak of Hollywood's grand historical epics. During the middle of the 20th century, studios often created large productions set in ancient civilizations. These films aimed to transport audiences into distant eras filled with kings, warriors, and monumental architecture. Yet even among these ambitious projects, Ben-Hur stood apart. Its combination of emotional depth and visual spectacle created a cinematic experience that few films could equal. The careful direction of William Wyler ensured that every scene served the story. Instead of allowing the enormous sets and crowds to dominate the screen, Wyler focused on the personal journey of the characters. At the center of this journey remained the transformation of Judah Ben-Hur. When audiences first encounter him, he is a man defined by pride and a sense of honor rooted in his heritage. His world is stable and familiar. But the betrayal that destroys his life forces him onto a path filled with hardship and struggle. Years of suffering shape his character in profound ways. Anger becomes one of his driving forces, pushing him forward as he seeks justice against the man responsible for his downfall. Yet as the story unfolds, the weight of that anger begins to change him. The narrative gradually shifts from a tale of revenge to one of spiritual awakening. Set within the historical era associated with the life of Jesus Christ, the story subtly introduces themes of mercy and forgiveness. These ideas slowly influence the perspective of the hero, guiding him toward a deeper understanding of compassion. This transformation gives the epic narrative its emotional power. The great chariot race may capture the audience's attention with its thrilling spectacle, but the heart of the story lies in the internal journey of the character. As the film continued to reach audiences around the world, critics and scholars began to study its achievements more closely. They recognized the remarkable coordination required to produce such a film. Every department, from costume design to cinematography, had contributed to the creation of a believable ancient world. The costumes alone numbered in the thousands. Roman soldiers marched in carefully crafted armor, while citizens of various cultures wore garments reflecting their unique traditions. Merchants, travelers, servants, and nobles all appeared in clothing designed to match historical research. Equally impressive were the massive sets constructed for the film. Entire streets and marketplaces were built to represent the cities of the ancient Mediterranean world. Towers rose above crowded plazas, while distant hills and desert landscapes expanded the sense of scale. These visual elements worked together to create an immersive experience for the audience. When viewers watched the film, they felt as though they were stepping into another era. Another factor that contributed to the film's enduring impact was its musical score. The sweeping orchestral compositions enhanced the emotional atmosphere of the story. Music guided the audience through moments of tension, triumph, and quiet reflection. During the chariot race, the score intensified the excitement of the competition. During scenes of contemplation, the music softened into gentle melodies that reflected the changing emotions of the characters. The collaboration between visual storytelling and music helped shape the powerful rhythm of the film. As the years passed, the achievements of Ben-Hur continued to influence filmmakers. Directors studying the art of cinema often examined the film's structure to understand how it balanced spectacle with emotional depth. They observed how the narrative gradually built toward the climactic chariot race while maintaining focus on the personal transformation of the hero. This balance between action and character became a valuable lesson for future generations of storytellers. Film schools around the world began including the movie in their courses. Students analyzed its editing techniques, its use of camera movement, and the careful pacing that allowed the story to unfold over a long running time without losing audience engagement. The chariot race in particular became a subject of fascination. Even decades after its release, many filmmakers still regard it as one of the greatest action sequences ever captured on film. Its realism and intensity remain difficult to match. The sequence achieved its impact not through digital effects but through careful planning and the courage of the performers who controlled the powerful horses. Cameras captured the race from multiple perspectives, and editors later combined the footage to create a sense of speed and danger that still feels immediate today. Beyond its technical achievements, however, the film continues to resonate because of its universal themes. Stories of betrayal, perseverance, and redemption have always held deep meaning for audiences. The character of Judah Ben-Hur embodies the struggle between anger and forgiveness that exists within many human experiences. His journey reminds viewers that hardship can shape a person in unexpected ways, sometimes leading to wisdom and compassion. As new generations discover the film, they often find themselves surprised by its enduring power. Despite the passage of time and the evolution of filmmaking technology, the story still feels emotionally authentic. This is one of the reasons the film remains a landmark in cinematic history. It demonstrates that great storytelling transcends the limitations of any particular era. Today, the legacy of Ben-Hur continues to inspire admiration from historians, filmmakers, and audiences alike. Its place among the greatest motion pictures ever created remains secure. The dedication of the artists who brought the story to life ensured that their work would endure far beyond the moment of its creation. And so the epic journey of Judah Ben-Hur continues to travel through time, reminding viewers that cinema, at its best, can illuminate the deepest struggles and hopes of the human spirit.